Hello, everybody. I want to welcome you here to the Prog Monster. So, good afternoon or good morning, whichever you prefer. My name is Murph. I am the host of this show. This is a show dedicated to progressive rock and other forms of rock music. So, we're starting this show today. This will be the first episode of this show. I just got to take a drink, sorry. This is going to be called the Prog Roundup. So the premise of this show is pretty straightforward. I'm going to pick 5 albums that are new prog albums for the year that came out in the month we're currently in. And the month we're in is August, so I've picked 5 that I like. Some of these may end up as episodes of what's new at some point when I get the albums, or if I get the albums. But I want to break down a few of these because I think they're pretty decent albums, and I wanted to do something a little bit more than just the what's new for albums that came out this year. So I decided this is a good point to start. So I've got 5 here. Eventually I'm going to use the Prezi to do these episodes. So this show will come out once a month, last Saturday of the month. And hopefully I'll be able to get a Prezi going so that you can actually see the albums. That's my goal. Haven't got to that point yet, but that's my goal for this particular thing. So the first one we're going to do is called Discipline. That's the name of the band. The album is called Breadcrumbs. This is a band from Detroit, Michigan. The album came out August the 1st, and Terry Brown did the mixing here. So I try to, with these episodes, I'm going to try to include some relevant information that maybe it's not normal to put on for the reviews, but wanted to put on here just to kind of give the album some life here. So this is a bit of a slow melodic symphonic-like album. At least the first song is very much like that. Then it kind of changes a little bit as they go along. I don't find the vocals particularly memorable with this group. There's nothing outstanding that would make me remember it by the vocal part. The cover is quite good. It kind of a dark album feel to it. Really doesn't match the cover. I think this is a little bit softer feel of an album than you might get from that cover. When you see the cover, it's kind of a Lord of the Ring-ish type cover. Some of the songs have almost like a jazzy feel to it. At least the back half of the album has that feeling to it. There is quite a bit of acoustic stuff going on here too as well. So overall I kind of liked it. I didn't initially, I wasn't intrigued by it, but I stuck through it, and then I kind of like that jazzy stuff. I'm not really a jazz guy, as most people know who watch the channel, but this was quite nice. I liked it. So that's the first band. The next one is called A.C.T is the name of the band, and the album is called Eternal Winter. This came out August the 8th. This is a Swedish rock band, or a Swedish prog band if you prefer. Kind of got a heavy kind of pop sound with some prog thrown in there. It kind of jumps between the two, I think. It's got some heavy parts to it, but overall it's kind of more poppy, I think. I would call it a poppy. The artistic, there's a very artistic cover to it. It's quite nice. I think this is, it's got a almost saga-like feel to the music. Not the vocals; they don't really match the saga sound, but that's the band that came to mind when I was watching it, when I was listening to it. Got a little bit of a saga feel to it. So I do like the saga music, not so much the lyrics or the vocals as I would in the past. I found it to be a bit up-tempo, a little bit quirky and silly at times. A little bit of a silly feel to the music. I think it's the up-tempo kind of, and in a lot of cases I think it's the video. There was one video and I thought it was kind of quirky. So the next band out is the Thought Chamber, and the album is called Myst of Lyrind. So this came out August the 18th, and it kind of, I would say this would qualify as a kind of progressive metal sound. That's my take on it. I got interested in it because I watched the Sea of Tranquility with George LeMay talking about this album. I thought his breakdown of it was very good. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to give this album a try. And I listened to it, and I did like it. I don't generally like progressive metal, as most people know, but I don't mind this one. It's pretty good. It's got, and I think part of that is because it's got kind of a Rush sound to it at times, almost a YYZ for the instrumental part, anyways. They did have one kind of thing that was a little bit different about their music. So their lead vocalist had left the band, so they had 3 or 4 other vocalists come in and do vocals for the album, which is, you know, almost Alan Parsons like type feel to it, at least with that particular aspect. So yeah, pretty good album. I could see myself possibly doing this as a what's new. I think the Discipline Breadcrumbs album, I could see myself doing that one for sure. That's probably in the works. The next one up is called Babel, Running in the Gutter. Now, this was one that I was going to do last week, and I chose something else instead. At the last minute, I decided to do something else. I wasn't in the mood for this. I think this is a mood-type feel album. And I didn't really quite know if I was going to be able to separate kind of the lyrical concept from the music concept, so I decided I wouldn't do that. At the last minute, I changed it out. So Babel, Running in the Gutter is the name of the album. Came out August the 3rd. They're a UK band. It's a kind of, there's almost kind of a mellow kind of psychedelic feel to the album. I kind of like it though. It's I wouldn't call it, it's not space rock, but it has that kind of psychedelic feel. It's progressive in nature, but has that psychedelic feel to it. So I did enjoy that part. The vocals are kind of marshmallowy too, which I think actually leads to that kind of psychedelic feel. And there's a multiple vocals, which is quite good. The cover is probably the best of the 4 covers, although I did like a couple of the other ones quite a bit too. It's all kind of a red color. Got this great kind of almost heavy metal magazine feel to it from the old heavy metal magazines. That's when I saw it, that was the first thing that came to mind, and the music kind of leads into that as well. So Babel, Running in the Gutter. And the last album, Habitat, Fifth Return is the name of the album. Came out August the 1st. This is an Argentinian band. The music is all in Latin or Spanish, if that's what you prefer. It's got almost a Marillion-like cover to it, minus the jester, but there's a lot of elements that kind of remind me of Marillion. It's very instrumentally driven. There's a couple of songs that really I quite like. They were medieval in sound, classical feel to them. I do kind of like that style of music a bit, especially if it's played in a kind of a rock way, which is great. And all the vocals, of course, are in Latin. So that's it. Those are the 5 bands I've chose, or the 5 albums I've chose for the Prog Roundup this month. Discipline's Breadcrumbs, A.C.T's Eternal Winter, Thought Chamber's Myst of Lyrind. Lyrind? I think it's Lyrind, actually. Babel's Running in the Gutter, and Habitat's Fifth Return. These are the 5. Of the 5, I would say probably the Discipline, Breadcrumbs, and the Babel Running in the Gutter are the 2 most likely ones that I'll do what's new on. Depends on what happens next month. If there's not too much next month or the month after, I may be able to fit 1 or 2 more of them in. So we'll see what happens. So that's it for the Prog Roundup, my first episode. I hope you've enjoyed that. Please hit the like and subscribe. That's much appreciated. If you want to make any comments about the show, you can do that in the comment section below. Also, I will be attempting to use the Prezi on next month's. Hopefully I'm ready for it by then. And we will see you then. So have yourself a good evening and a good day. And from Prog Monster, goodbye.